In a small town where everyone knew everyone, a quiet diner sat at the corner of Main Street, a place where the scent of coffee mixed with the warmth of memories. Every morning, right before sunrise, a man named Jack sat in the far corner booth. He never said much. He just sipped his black coffee, read the paper, and gave a gentle smile to the waitress who'd worked there for years. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't loud. He was just a single dad doing his best to make ends meet. But there was something about him, a calmness, a strength, that people couldn't quite name. Jack had served his country for over 20 years. Delta Force, the most elite of the elite. He'd seen things most people couldn't imagine. But after losing his wife in a tragic accident and retiring early to raise his son, he'd traded combat boots for work boots, missions for fatherhood. The only thing that remained from his old life was a small tattoo on his forearm, a mark that meant everything to those who knew. To everyone else, it was just ink. That morning, Jack had brought his 10-year-old son, Ethan, for pancakes before school. Ethan giggled as he drowned his breakfast in syrup, trying to make his dad laugh. And for a moment, Jack did, a small, real laugh that made Ethan's face light up. But that moment of peace didn't last long. The diner's door swung open. 3 men walked in, loud and brash, locals who thought toughness meant arrogance. They'd had one too many late nights, and their pride filled the room before their voices did. Everyone knew them, the kind who picked on anyone who didn't fight back. Jack didn't even glance their way. He'd seen their kind before, on battlefields and back alleys. "Hey, look at that guy," one of them sneered, pointing at Jack. Sitting there all quiet, thinking he's better than everyone. Jack ignored it. His son looked up at him, eyes nervous. Jack gave a calm smile. "Finish your pancakes, buddy." But bullies don't stop when ignored. They feed on silence. One of them, tall, red-faced, with a smirk too wide for his own good, stomped toward Jack's table. "Hey, tough guy. What's that tattoo, huh? Some prison mark?" Jack didn't even look up. "Just an old memory," he said quietly. The man scoffed, puffing out his chest. "Old memory, huh? You one of those wannabe soldiers. You think you're special or something?" Ethan looked scared. Jack reached over, patting his son's hand gently. "Don't worry. Some folks just talk too much." That small show of calm, that unshakable peace, made the bully snap. His pride couldn't handle being ignored. He leaned in, and before anyone could react, his hand came across Jack's face, a sharp slap that silenced the entire diner. The sound echoed. Coffee cups froze midair. The waitress gasped. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. Jack didn't move. His head tilted slightly from the slap, but his gaze stayed still, cold, steady, unshaken. For a few seconds, the diner felt like a battlefield. Jack stood slowly, his chair sliding back with a soft scrape. He didn't yell. He didn't threaten. He simply rolled up his sleeve, revealing that small, distinct tattoo. The room went silent. The older man sitting at the counter, a Korean War vet everyone called Pops, dropped his fork. That's a Delta mark," he whispered. The bullies froze. One of them stumbled back. The color drained from the red-faced man's cheeks. His hands trembled. Jack's voice was calm, too calm. "Son," he said softly, "go wait by the door." Ethan nodded and slipped away, trusting his father completely. Jack stepped closer, eyes locked on the bully. "You ever been in a real fight?" he asked quietly. The man couldn't answer. His lips quivered. "Didn't think so," Jack continued. "You see, a slap like that, where I'm from, that's not disrespect. That's a challenge. But I'm not here to fight. Not anymore. I've seen enough of that to last a lifetime." He turned, his voice growing softer but stronger. "You walk around acting like you're tough, but real strength isn't about hurting people. It's about protecting them. It's about restraint. It's about doing the right thing when no one's watching." The bully's eyes darted to the tattoo again. His tough guy mask cracked, and guilt replaced anger. I didn't know," he muttered. Jack sighed. "That's the problem with your kind. You never do." He reached into his pocket, pulled out some bills, and laid them on the table. "Come on, Ethan. Let's go." As Jack and his son walked out, the entire diner stood, not in fear, but respect. Pops raised his coffee cup in salute. The waitress wiped her tears. Even the bully's friends couldn't meet Jack's eyes. Outside, Ethan looked up. "Dad, why didn't you hit him back?" Jack smiled softly, kneeling down to his son's level. Because son, I fought enough battles in my life. The hardest one now, is showing you how to be strong without being cruel. That's what your mom would have wanted. Ethan hugged him tight, and Jack's eyes softened. For all the wars he'd fought, this, being a father, staying gentle in a harsh world, was his greatest mission. Word spread fast in the small town. The man everyone thought was just a quiet worker was once one of America's most elite soldiers, a Delta Force legend. But to Ethan, he was just Dad. From that day on, those bullies changed. They started tipping better, talking softer, treating people kinder. Maybe it was fear, or maybe it was respect. But something in them shifted after meeting the man with the mark. And every morning, Jack came back to that same corner booth, sipping his black coffee, his son smiling across from him. The world didn't need to know his past. His legacy lived right there, in the little boy watching him, learning what real strength looked like.